fact, most Americans, 53%, say they would avoid GMOs if labeled. In fact, if 9 out of 10 of those are lying, we still get our tipping point. But most Americans still have some level of yuck factor, even though most Americans have no idea they've ever eaten a GMO in their life. So somehow the tinkering of genes, etc., gives people a sense of unease, and I think that's appropriate. And all we have to do is tell them the truth. Now, based on where you were before compared to now, before like a long time ago at the beginning of this lecture, when you were still eating GMOs or not quite sure why you were uncomfortable with them, and now you have a better idea. Compared to that, how many of you are more likely to tell someone else about GMOs? Raise your hand. Okay, almost everyone. So that means the same information that changes your diet and is ready to change your diet out of eliminating brands that you grew up with. That you may get to the cupboard stage, when you get home, it's like, okay, what is, some of you are there. Maybe you have to read more, I don't know. But the same information that changes your diet on the spot makes the same message go viral. So all we have to do is plant the non-GMO seeds. And I had no idea I had that influence on you, Tom. It's like, I just wrote a book, you read it, all of a sudden you're like, sacred seed guy, writing poems and changing the world. I think that's great. And the thing is, it's like that. It's like I was speaking at the American Academy of Environmental Medicine, spoke to a doctor. She said, every time I prescribe a non-GMO diet, everyone gets better. It never doesn't work. I went to her office in Chicago. We interviewed a bunch of people. All these changes. I said, where'd you hear about this? She said, from you. I had no idea. So it's like we plant these non-GMO seeds, and it's awesomely powerful because it's sticky information. It changes people's diets. It changes people's lives. It saves people's lives and their children and their friends. So we have a capacity now with this information to share it. Now, have you been taking notes? You ready to give this lecture? Maybe not. So we made it easier for you. We have, first of all, how to avoid GMOs, non-GMOshoppingguide.com. I'll say it 3 times. Non-GMOshoppingguide.com. That's 2, non-GMOshoppingguide.com. iPhone application. Anyone have iPhone or iPad? Raise your hand. Okay. Shop No GMO, free, iTunes. Shop No GMO, 4,000 or so non-GMO, third-party verified products. Okay, this has the brands, not the products, so it's you have to look at the actual brands on the shelves to see if they have the non-GMO project verified seal, which is the third-party verified seal which we support because it's really good. So we have some of these in the back. Great. So you're already on your way. So that's one thing. 2, well, that's the second step. That's how to avoid GMOs. But you want to get the word out. Most of you said you want to get the word out more. Here's what we've got for you. Everything you need. The right brain book that he read, Seeds of Deception. The left brain book, Genetic Roulette, with all the technical details. The videos for the visual learner. The video called Hidden Dangers in Kids' Meals. You know who to give that one to. You have the audios for the iPad owner. You have the blogs, the articles, if those people want to speak about GMOs, we have an online training program, 5 or 10-hour webinar. You could take that. You want to get involved with other people. Tipping Point Network, join up online. ResponsibleTechnology.org. ResponsibleTechnology.org. Institute for Responsible Technology, ResponsibleTechnology.org. We have the Tipping Point Network. Join with other people to get the word out. And guess what those people are doing in California? They've totally abandoned me. Because they're now focused on Prop 37. They just took that organization that we set up and just said, well, we're meeting anyway. It looks like this is a world-changing event. Let's focus on that. And I said, okay, great idea. Prop 37. What do you think they're going to do if GMOs are labeled? Knowing that more than half of Americans say they would avoid GMOs if labeled. We've already heard. They whisper, we're going to get rid of them. Wow, what a moment in time. What a moment in time. I mean, talk about what this civilization at this time might do to the world with GMOs if we're not careful. And think about what would happen if we can reverse it right here. Because they're not going to create a non-GMO, unlabeled product for California, 12% of the consuming public of America, and create a different GMO-laden product for the rest of the world. It could be, I hope it is, a non-GMO avalanche. I was going to say tsunami, but I'm actually too close to the water, so I'll just call it an avalanche. Cool? Okay. So we have a situation where the leverage here is amazing. It's amazing. First of all, it's a very sticky message now. Everyone's talking about GMOs, or should be soon, because they're about to be disinformed very big time by tens of millions of dollars. So there's a lot of receptivity. People, what's a GMO? What's a GMO? Good. Now that you've asked, here's a book. Click and send revolutionary. Send everything out. Become one of the lending library owners. Get the information out to others. We have a whole lending library program. So we have information right here that you can get out to help antidote against the disinformation program that's coming from Monsanto. You're all networked. How many people have a Facebook? Yes. How many people have an email address book? Yes. How many people know anyone else? Yes. Okay, you all have networks. You all know people. You all have incredible creativity and passion. So I'd like to suggest that you think now, truly, really, right now, in this moment, what can I do? Who can I talk to? How best to get the information out? What existing networks am I part of or know about that I can get this information to? And you can find a lot of stuff on our website and another website I'll tell you in a moment. How can I take this information and put it in the networks? So yes, there is individual information you can give out to your friends, etc., to your loved ones, but you're all networked. So what can I do on my Facebook? What can I tweet out, etc., etc.? Think now and really make a decision now, and not wait till after dinner to think about what you're going to do, but make a decision now, because the information is so potent and real and powerful right now. And then hold yourself to it, or ask someone to do it, because now is the time. Because it's not just for yourself, and it's not just for your friends and your family, it's actually for all living beings and all future generations. And if you think about it, it's not a burden, it's an incredible opportunity, because when in history, in the entire history of mankind, have we ever had the ability to protect all living beings and all future generations? And so what happens when you do? As the karma of all living beings and all future generations are tied up in our success, I think you'll feel it. I think you'll feel it in the way that you feel the individual conversation you have with the seeds that you're saving and the plants that you're growing. But it's more than that intimacy. It's also an intimacy with a vastness thrown in. A vastness in this time and a vastness in the future. Because as a steward, as taking the steps, taking the decision to be a steward and a protector of this earth, it's an opportunity, it's a spiritual opportunity. Because when you step into that awareness, you feel its pulse in your heart, and you know it's the right thing. So it's so good to have us together, working as a team, to reclaim a non-GMO food supply. Thank you very much.
You want to turn this off now?
Tom and I would love to answer questions.
Okay.
And we'll do it very quickly. And we also want to give you some specific opportunities to join locally. So we want to make sure that that's handled. Okay? We're going to start this way and go this way. How many people have questions? Raise your hand. I want to count the number of questions. All right, so it gives an idea how fast we have to answer them. Okay, yeah?
Having worked with many farmers markets for years and since '99, so many decisions about this, one of the biggest concerns that I always encounter with farmers, especially who are maybe not as scientifically focused, is what is their recourse? How can we can fight this, we can say, no, we're not going to eat this, and no, yes, we want it labeled. How can we ensure that this isn't going to contaminate our food supply for the next 10 generations down the line? How can we take it out of the supply altogether?
So the question is about contamination. How can we prevent contamination? The answer, unfortunately, is current generation, current technology. There's no way to make it zero. Once the contamination happens, it's irreversible with current technology. Maybe some future sci-fi goggles and ray gun will take care of it, but right now we have nothing. But we can dramatically reduce the exposure. So if you buy products, even if they're third-party verified by the Non-GMO Project, even if they're organic, even if they're both, they still might have some small, tiny level of contamination. It's the best we can do right now. But that doesn't mean we should give up. It means we should double down, because they still plan to genetically engineer 100% of all commercial seeds if we let them. So the PLU code has nothing to do with GMOs. It was a myth, and I have a Huffington Post article about that. So it is for organic. They have a theoretical one that's used for pricing and inventory. If anyone wants to brag and boast about being a GMO, but no one does, so it doesn't work. The PLU code is not related. Next, coming over here. How can we ensure the death of Monsanto? If you figure that out,
I have an answer.
whisper it to me. Don't text it to me. Don't email it to me. Trust me. You don't want them to get it first. So the thing is, obviously, if someone wants to do something underhanded and illegal, then laws are not necessarily going to protect us. Okay? Simple as that. I mean, the whole thing about the tobacco was underhanded and illegal. It was illegal, and they got away with it. So at least we'll deal with what we can deal with. Yes? Okay, so corn, 88% is genetically engineered. Sweet corn, some of it is. A small percentage until this year because Monsanto's Roundup Ready BT corn is now in sweet corn, and before it was just Syngenta's BT corn, it was a smaller percentage. So sweet corn is in danger. Organic corn it does not allow for intentional use of GMOs. Corn pollinates per kernel, so sometimes there's a small amount of contamination depending on where it's grown and if the seeds were clean. Popcorn is not genetically engineered, ever, at this point, and does not cross-pollinate. Blue corn is not GMO. However, blue corn chips may be contaminated with genetically engineered yellow corn, so don't just assume that it's non-GMO by being blue corn. So it's not 88% of the sweet corn, but it's a growing percentage, so it's not considered safe. And Walmart has said we are not going to label or exclude Monsanto's GM corn or our sweet corn as an example, so you may want to let them know that that was not a good idea. If anyone has ever shopped in a Walmart, don't admit it here in this circumstance. Farmers market, you have to ask them, is this genetically engineered? You have to ask them. And if they don't know, the thing is this, usually with GMOs, with corn, they'll know because they paid extra for it. They signed a contract for it. So that's generally the way it is. I don't know of any garden-level corn seeds that would be sold unlabeled. There are garden-level zucchini and yellow crookneck squash, however, seeds that may be non-labeled, but they're genetically engineered. Yes? How do they do it? Okay, you want to do the BT gene. Okay, you take the genes out of the soil bacteria, make millions of copies. Don't ask me how. They just got some multiplier. And they put an activator or a promoter from a virus on there, put it into a gun, shoot the gun into a plate of millions of cells. So you just go, boom, it's called biolistics. Now, some of those genes are going to cause some damage to the DNA, and the repair mechanism may incorporate some of those genes. Then they take those cells that have the incorporated genes and they clone them, tissue culture, into a plant. Now every single cell of every single plant has that gene in it. Did that answer the question? Good. In the process of insertion plus cloning, first of all, it's not sex. It's not sexual reproduction. It's something different. It's not just an extension of natural breeding. It is something new and different. And the process of insertion plus cloning causes massive collateral damage, which can increase allergens and toxins and carcinogens and anti-nutrients, and does. Yes?
Two questions. One is, once that's in your system and in your intestines.
Okay, so what do we do if we have a colonized gut bacteria producing GM stuff all the time? I don't know. I don't know how to find it. I don't know if it's there. I don't know how to fix it. However, I can tell